I began my project mapping my neighborhood, which is Throgs Neck. Throgs Neck is a small neighborhood located in the east section of the Bronx. It is made up of longtime residents, blue-collar workers, city employees, and a mostly middle-class neighborhood. There are some things you need to know about the area. Most residents will spell it with 2 G's, whereas other people will spell it with 1. It's a hidden waterfront neighborhood. In the summer, you'll find most people that live in the area trying to utilize any sort of waterfront access there is. The Throgs Neck Bridge was built in 1957 and the Whitestone Bridge in 1937. So you'll hear a lot of the older residents talk about remembering before the Throgs Neck Bridge was built. So for my heritage site, I chose Ferry Point Park. Ferry Point Park is located at the base of the Whitestone Bridge. I chose Ferry Point Park because it has a really interesting history and potential future. The park is split into 2 sections. One half of the park over here, the east side, used to be a landfill up until about the 1960s, and the west side of the park is a community park. It's called Ferry Point Park because the ferries connected Throgs Neck to Queens before the Whitestone Bridge was built. And as I mentioned, the east side of the park was used as a landfill until 1960. In 1998, Mayor Giuliani announced that it would become a golf course, and there were a lot of hurdles and delays, and that golf course was finally completed in 2013. The east side of the golf course of the park is now a luxury golf course. The west side is a community park that draws thousands of local visitors on the weekends in normal times. There's a baseball field, a basketball field, a playground. Unfortunately, though, these fields are really just made up of dust and steel pipes, and there's a lot of garbage that the teams have to clean up before their games. They're in desperate need of new water fountains, bathrooms, and locals have called for security in the park. So there are a lot of forces acting upon this site, including environmental and climate forces. The east side of the park is a remediated landfill. Issues include methane found in the basement of homes nearby. As we encounter more climate issues, the park is located in a flood zone, and the park could potentially be used to restore oysters in the city. There are a lot of socioeconomic forces happening upon this park. The New York Times described it as a tale of 2 cities, whereas one side is a luxury golf course where people are paying about $180 for 18 holes, whereas the other side you have local schools having to clean up their fields before they play their games. And then there's a lot of political forces acting upon the park. The golf course was funded with taxpayer money, but now it is a private golf course. So here you'll see 2 pictures of the 2 sides of the park. On top, you'll see the side from the golf course, and beneath you'll see the other side where the community has access. So for a long time, the city has promised to make a waterfront area in the park that residents could use, even going all the way around to the golf course, promising all the areas of the water for residents to eventually build this area that we could walk and run, but obviously that has not happened yet. So for my project, I did a little Ferry Point Park waterfront access. So something I noticed during the pandemic is that although we are a waterfront neighborhood, there's very little public access to enjoy, the views and the nature that the city does have to offer. So in my project, I just made a little diorama of what the city could potentially offer its residents. So if I can just make this full screen. So you see here we have a little picnic table. A little picnic table with a walkway for people to walk along the water. Flowers. Tons of flowers and color after a very long, lonely year. Right here is supposed to be a like a drainage system. Waterfront areas in the city have a large problem with combined sewer runoff. So when there's a heavy rain, you can't use the waterways in the city because the sewers overflow, and that water goes into the Long Island Sound and the Hudson River, and there's high levels of bacteria in the water. If we come a little closer, you have a little boat and a dock. Flowers, this would be oyster beds for a healthy water environment. This is the waterfront access. Let's see. On the boat, we have our little motion here. You could spin the propeller. And then let's put this back here. And if I don't know if you can see it. If I press here, we have a little light. I was trying to make a light post, but it wasn't working out, so I was thinking just a little light along the walkway for when it starts to get dark and safety. And then we can see some sound. Which would just be the sounds local residents can enjoy while they sit and have a place to eat lunch and just enjoy some space.